Tiptoeing in my Jordans. Who's that song by?
No idea.
Oh, come on. Really? Nobody?
You know who it is?
I do not. I just know the.
I don't even own Jordans.
Tiptoeing.
How do you-
Jordan.
How do I not?
I don't
Do
know
you
if
own
I've
Jordans?
never owned Jordans either, actually.
I never have either.
Too expensive.
I have owned Jordans in the past. I don't own them today.
Yeah.
I think Air Force Ones was the coolest shoe that I ever owned.
Nice.
I don't know.
Didn't Fat Joe have like an Air Force One song or something like that?
Nelly.
Nelly.
Oh,
Nelly
Nelly.
had an Air
Sorry.
Force-
Okay.
My
We know
Air
Nelly.
Force Ones.
We wouldn't if we would have missed on Air Force Ones. That would have been tough. Really, I don't know. about
I'm
that
gonna
song.
look it up.
Good. We should play it too.
Sure, why not? Riff Raff.
It is Riff Raff. It is
Shut
Riff
the
Raff.
hell up.
Yeah, it is Riff Raff.
You know what we
100%.
should do? You know what we should do as one of our fantasy football punishments
What?
is doing your beard like Riff Raff. Right? Isn't it Riff Raff? Or no, I'm thinking Stitches. Who am I thinking of? With the
Stitches
Oh,
is
no.
another
Shitty
legend.
Like, just fucking, it's all
No.
over the place. Like it's terrible.
Oh, Riff Raff has that like crazy beard too, though, doesn't he? Like, is it his hair or is it beard? He like shaves like lines in it or something like that.
Yeah, I think it is. I think both of them might do that.
Ty, we might need you to pull up. Or maybe we'll just
That
edit this
ain't
in,
Riff
but,
Raff up there.
That
on the
ain't Riff
screen.
Raff up
Don't
there.
worry.
I see. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
got to be
it's
Riff
Riff-
Raff.
Dude,
It's
what's
Riff
Riff
Raff?
I
Raff?
mean, yeah, look at him.
What's Riff Raff up to these days?
Scary.
Is he still
Dude,
making
it's
music?
He's got
like-
like the lines in his like beard.
Still
Yeah,
making
he's got like a
music.
star or whatever.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having that and going into work?
Yo, Tiptoeing in my Jordans. It was probably like
It's
his.
Jowdens, come on.
It was like his top song.
100%.
That's like that's what made him.
It's probably his only song. I don't know if I could have my teeth like Riff Raff either. He's got some he made his teeth like looking at shark teeth or something. I don't. I feel like
It's
it'd be
a
I feel like
grill,
it'd be,
dude.
yeah, well, I guess it could be a grill over his teeth.
It's a
Some
grill.
people actually have like shaved their teeth to look like this.
I've seen that. That's insane.
like literally like shark teeth chompers. Like it's fucking. I feel like I'd be biting my tongue right off. But then again,
This is a mouthful.
I don't-
Watch Riff Raff's
Was that
Trippy San Francisco Seafood Odyssey is the name of this.
this article that we just
Article.
clicked on.
I'm just reading. I'm reading this title and it's just like, what?
Listen, when you can't make it in the music industry anymore, that's what you go to.
Just say a bunch of jumbled words. Riff Raff's Odyssey Seafood Jambalaya.
Jambalaya. Say that headline 5 times.
Yeah, right.
No, I bring that up because what are we talking about today?
Tipping.
Tipping.
Oh,
Tipping.
goodness
Tipping.
gracious.
Tip it
Customer
is.
service, more or less.
Sorry, yeah,
Yeah,
customer
customer
service.
service.
Customer
Spectrum.
service, absolutely.
When you call a company, like the biggest one, the one that I was most recently like faced with, I guess, was I called American Express, and it took me about 45 minutes to get a real person on the phone. But when you call a lot of companies these days, do you like the efficiency of being able to click a button and then run through a process, or would you rather talk to somebody?
I want to talk to someone. And I don't want to call back either because I don't believe they're going to call me back. I want to wait on hold until I freaking talk to
That
someone.
usually works for me.
Yeah,
that
that-
callback
that's-
feature
that's-
does work.
That's been going good for
That's
me
become
too.
better for sure.
Yeah, that does work.
But I just want to get to the answer quicker, and I feel like a person would just get me to the answer quicker.
I just £0 or whatever
And
it
on-
is,
some
screaming
of the-
operator.
Some of the like options that you get are so obscure or broad enough to like you're like I don't know where my question fits into all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So Kenny, the real funny thing is the article that I was looking up on this. You mentioned American Express. They literally have here American Express survey found that 7 out of 10 people will just hang up the phone on your business if you don't provide an option for them to talk to a live person.
Well,
Did you
I
have a
think,
good experience with American Express, or you had a bad one?
when I got somebody, but I think it's like that feature where you click 0 like a million times and it like brings you to an operator. I don't think that exists anymore. I think that the operating systems have figured that out, and that whole thing doesn't work. It just keeps looping me. But it took me a while to get a person on the phone because they want to like basically know everything about your problem, exactly who they're talking to before. I guess that all goes into the system. So when they answer the phone, they're like, I already know what the solution is here. But it's just hard. If you have a very obscure question, that's where I think I'm running into difficulty.
What do you guys think about as you're going through the options where you have to speak now, and it would recognize what you're saying? instead of just hitting 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way up to 9.
Doesn't understand me half the time.
Yeah.
So I hate it.
Yeah.
I literally I couldn't get my freaking Walgreens refill in for my prescription. It drove me until I finally called. I also went on their online thing to do it. It took me calling, saying operator, and then finally talking to someone. I got my shit in the next day. It took me a week and a half to get this freaking blood pressure medicine.
Do you have to ask the pharmaceutical brand?
What if I died, Walgreens? What?
Do you have to say like what exactly prescription pharmaceutical name it is?
So
Because like
it's
some of
part
those
my
names are
profile.
crazy.
It's part of my profile, but my like online, I don't know. It wasn't synced up. There was something going on. They have to like get doctor approval sometimes too for prescriptions and refills.
That I feel like is like not a good one. Pharmacy.
It
CVS, are you listening out there? This is how you can overtake Walgreens right here, live.
I've always wondered about going to Publix for pharmacy too, but I've never done it. I've always been a Walgreens CVS person. I don't know.
Yeah, CVS. Same thing.
Have you done the online prescription thing? Anyone have
Well, like,
prescriptions actually? I don't even know if do you guys have prescriptions
I go to Publix for
No.
for any type of
prescriptions. Yeah.
Good experience.
Yeah. I
I know people that actually worked at the Publix pharmacy. I've just never been. I was
get a customer
I just like
review.
getting my, I like getting my
Any
cookies
race?
and my.
wherever it's the
Subs.
cheapest and wherever my insurance can cover is where I
Oh my
go.
gosh.
Gotcha.
It just so happens that there's a Publix a couple miles down the road, and I can get my prescriptions or my medicine. there.
Listen, Publix has great customer service. They always
By the
hire.
way,
shopping is a pleasure.
You know who's got really good customer service?
You're gonna say it.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
I was waiting for that to get
Chick-fil-A.
brought up.
I like
Dude, honestly.
They don't
yeah.
point. What do? They go like that way or something like that. What does Disney do? Do they do the same thing? They have
No
like a.
pointing.
They don't point. They do something else with their hand.
Chick-fil-A
what?
has
Like
some
that
great
or
customer
something.
service.
I think they
What
go like
is-
that or something, or they do somewhere.
I don't want to keep talking over each other. I feel like we're doing pretty bad at that right now.
Sorry,
But
it happens.
what does Chick-fil-A say when you leave? They have to say something.
My pleasure.
Pleasure.
Is that what it
They
is?
say
Yes.
my pleasure.
They close always with my pleasure.
I didn't know that. I just knew they said something. I just didn't know
Yeah,
what it
they don't
was.
say like you're welcome. It's
Kind of
gonna
like
be
DQ.
But their customer service is awesome. Their training, I don't know what they do, but yeah, I don't know. They,
Should we all go get hired and just do like a
Run
week
through.
stint at Chick-fil-A, learn their customer service, and then dip?
Well, I have heard of large corporations that highly value kids that
Came from Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A
Yeah.
training programs.
They're like a feeder company now.
Yeah.
Once you're out of high school, out of college, if you have Chick-fil-A on the resume, it looks really good.
Yeah, I have heard that. I mean, and I can see why, because my experience always is great.
You know why, Kenny? You know why they're so happy and have such great customer service?
Why?
They close on Sundays. You know, they get that R&R recovery,
Maybe.
similar to a vacation, like a previous episode we've talked about. You know,
Maybe.
refreshed.
Except the problem with it is that I think they have the longest lines during the week. They are closed on Sunday, but that 9:50
they are
crew,
efficient
Yeah,
with the
they're
long
getting-
lines, bro.
dude,
It's insane.
It's like if you see the
They
long
are,
line now,
yeah.
it's actually not as long. Like it's visually, it looks like, oh shit, this is gonna take forever. But when you actually go, it's
They
like,
move quick.
yeah.
Well, they
Then
walk
do
around with
the
like
double
iPads
lane.
outside.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You don't even like order off the board anymore.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like
you don't.
Hold up,
Technology.
you pull up, you see the long line. Do you wait in the drive-through, or do you think it's going to be quicker and go carry out?
If it's
I
not
go carry
Chick-fil-A.
out.
Chick-fil-A, they're quick, so I go. I just
Yeah.
wait because it's still quick. That line can be 25 cars deep, and they're just cranking
Anything
people.
I'll go
other
carry
than
out.
Chick-fil-A, I'll go in.
Agreed.
Chick-fil-A,
the
I
carryout
will
is quick
wait.
though too.
Who?
The carryout is quick though too for Chick-fil-A. I'd be interested to see like if you
True.
have the long
Yeah.
line,
True.
carry out versus like which one's more efficient.
Here's this. Chick-fil-A cooks food. I was in line for like, I want to say 45 minutes, but it's probably like 14 minutes at Starbucks the other day. All I got was a nitro cold brew. They fucking put a cup underneath and turn the tap
We're
on.
back on Starbucks. Did you use the app or did you go in order?
Drive-through.
Oh, drop.
Do you
I don't
think-
know what the
It's the
people
first
got in
mess
front
up
of
there,
me, but
man.
I'm like, dude, what the hell?
Well, you just brought up a good point for customer service right now is doing an app ordering rather than just doing the normal ordering.
True.
Well, that's
But that's just a process, though. Like,
I don't do
They're-
it, so don't ask me.
it just brings it back to the
I don't have
customer
that.
experience because nowadays like customers are expecting things so much faster, and like it goes back to also the operator. And when you get on a call, like at the end of the day, consumers kind of force that upon one another because at the end of the day, people are still going to go through whatever it is, and in the short term and long term, they're saving money. They don't have to hire a person to be on the phone. Like Southwest, like during the pandemic. when they laid off half their people, like it was 45 minutes to an hour and 30 minutes just trying to get something for a flight. And then now obviously they have a pretty decent, quote unquote, experience through clicking buttons and operator and all that.
Is there any airline out there that if you call, you can get through to someone quickly? I feel like all of them are now minimum 30 minutes to an hour.
I'd be curious, like what actual companies have a very good automated process for like their chat box and all that. Like what companies out there that are actually efficient and where a customer actually feels like, hey, if I had to rank or give a score 1 through 10, like I would say 9 or 10.
Ironically enough, I think the largest tech companies have the worst.
Do you guys ever do the satisfaction stuff after those chat box or anything else, really?
If
I'm
it's
just
quick.
anything now.
Actually, you know what?
Sometimes those surveys are so drawn out, I don't want to do it because I've spent 5 or 10 minutes and I'm on question 30.
I don't
it's
think
quick.
this is automated, but Amazon's is pretty good. Have anybody?
I have never taken an Amazon survey before.
No, not survey.
No, he's saying the bot.
The support.
Oh,
Their
I'm
support.
sorry.
You know, they respond pretty quickly, and they get your shit taken care of right there and then.
They have
Usually they
to.
just refund your shit.
They have to because they deliver same day. So they're going to, if they can deliver quickly, they're going to be able to answer
us
and solve
10
your problems
days,
quickly.
yeah.
What about Uber Eats, like when they mess up your order?
Theirs has been very good.
Yeah.
I don't really.
Very
I've had that
good.
happen once.
They return your money immediately.
Yeah.
But which I think can actually negatively affect them in the future because if people catch on that, they're going to start canceling their orders like constantly.
There was an
Then they have
article
to-
about someone who literally like hustled Uber Eats and like they found out. And,
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
then they probably get banned.
yeah, I don't.
can't they tell about like repetitive practices with that though?
I think that's how they found out.
Yeah,
Do it
probably.
every time.
I think at that point you got to rely on the driver too, from their perspective. Like that's their employee in a way,
True.
so they have to take the picture and say like, yeah, it
Yeah.
actually got delivered. If it didn't, I'm sure they're circling back. But when I did my one and only, because I don't do Uber Eats very often, it
Why
was
not?
like no question, because it's too fucking expensive.
Charge $9 for a fee.
Miller's Ale
Convenience
House,
fee.
one of my favorite places. I can get a Zinger Mountain Milk for like $12 if I actually just go and fucking pick it up versus $19. It's almost $20. It's like $6 more plus
$2.99.
that's just for the entree. But anyways,
Well, it's funny. I was actually looking at an article. It said 9 out of 10 customers say they would pay more to ensure they have customer experience that's superior.
I agree. I do.
You get what you pay for.
The best experiences ever, cruise ships. Their customer service are freaking amazing. That's why I like going back. They're so good.
Kenny, you just got.
I'm just looking at Kenny laugh.
It could go either way, but you just got off. You just came back from a cruise, Virgin, right?
Yes.
And that was freaking amazing.
Amazing. The customer service on Virgin, not even just the customer service, but the way that they do it, do everything. It's just they do it right, and it was amazing. I've been on 4 different cruise lines in my life, and Virgin, I will have to say, they're a top performer, and they're winning a lot of awards right now for the customer service, for the way that they run their program compared to everybody else in the industry, and it's amazing. I mean, they have their shit together, and they're doing a wonderful job at everything that they do. From the food, the quality is amazing. From the customer service, it's amazing. From the places that they bring you and the rooms and the cleanliness and all of the things that they do.
And
awesome.
this podcast is brought to you by Virgin Cruise Lines.
Well, we were gonna go to Carnival next, but baby.
I don't know. I mean, but that's the thing, right? And their whole model is they're not trying to cram in. They're not the biggest boat on the sea. They're not.
Right.
And they're not by far. But you're going to pay a little bit more to be on that cruise line because you're paying for quality. So it's like, do you want to be on a boat with 10,000 people? Sure, you can definitely do that.
How many people go on cruise ships?
A lot.
10,000?
I don't know. Look up, Google it.
You?
Siri.
I don't know. I mean, those boats are massive now. So I don't know if it's 10,000, but it's probably 6,
Yeah.
7, 8.
I just
Per
feel
ship.
like
3,000 is the average capacity.
yeah, all right.
What does like
Sounds
the
a little bit
biggest
more.
boat have, though?
7 to 8. There was a boat that was just made in Asia that could almost get up to 10,000 people out. That's excluding like workers.
Oh, that's true.
It's a massive
Yeah,
ship.
and then it's
on
also like
board.
how many workers are on there too, right? There's like 500 people on there.
Disney, the ship that they bought was from Asia and Singapore, where they're going to be doing their docks from. The ship was built for 9,000 customers. Disney's not going to have 9,000 people because they're downsizing it, but
That's insane.
it's a huge boat.
It is a huge boat. Like these boats are getting bigger and bigger. But that's the thing I'm saying there is like a lot of the companies are going for like, let's build a bigger boat, and that's not the model for Virgin. It's
No.
not the biggest boat. It's the experience.
Yeah, so you're like hitting on customer experience, which I feel like is definitely tied to customer service itself, because
100%.
the
True.
experience is the service. That's the human element. But then the experience is also like your technology that you have, your cleanliness of the whatever establishment you have. What are you offering? That's quality of food. So that does add to experience. But the customer service portion of it is huge. I just don't know with how much they're making technology involved in the customer experience, if that's going to make things worse, better. I don't know, because you lose that human touch.
Yeah. I think if you summarize like what is great customer service, like when you're
That's a good question. Let's
engaged
Google
in that, like, right? I think of someone who obviously is taking the time to listen and has the patience, one, from a time management standpoint. They're showing empathy. They're knowledgeable in the product or service that they're offering and how to provide a solution. And on the flip side, I think there's just some very mean people out there that are customers and just expect a bit much or take it out on the poor customer service representative.
Nailed it on the head.
A bit entitled, would you say?
Who?
The customer.
I think sometimes customers can be very, very entitled.
I think that's
we're
half the
forgetting-
problem.
More
It's
now
human
than-
nature. Like, treat people with respect. It's that simple. Now, listen, from an emotional standpoint, like I think we all can agree. We've probably had a moment where we got a little frustrated and took it out on someone.
Sure.
But people are just crazy. Like,
It's happening more and more. The entitlement issue is coming up more and more. You're just seeing those types of interactions. Forget outside of in customer service, but just outside in everyday life. You're just seeing more and more of those types of blow-ups.
be friendly. Also, both sides.
Like you said, just be nice.
Just be nice.
To your point,
And you know what's interesting? Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, we made a point about the human touch. I think the more you move away from it, yes, like you can be more efficient in those things, but the more big picture, the more you move away from the human touch and the human element, I think you'll lose your customer satisfaction, because it's that feeling. It's that feel of someone who cares, who's taking care. You're calling in with a problem. You're looking for help, and you have someone who truly is invested in your situation, no matter how big or small. To you, it's important. And if you can leave that situation with someone just giving you that good feeling, that's going to be
What if
change.
AI can provide a human feeling to the experience?
No.
Or to the service?
Can't be done.
Done.
You know what I was thinking? When I think something.
Great point, Ryan.
Thank you.
You
Appreciate
drove
it.
that. You drove that home. Touchdown. Oh yeah. 3 points.
No rebuttal. Just no.
3 points, touchdown, field goal.
3 points,
Field goal.
Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Or 10 points. Gryffindor.
Cricket home run. Got it. Scoreboard, baby.
Spike.
How
Yeah, Ken.
does customer experience or customer service, not customer experience, how does customer service vary from where you are? So, like, for instance, New York, right? Customer service in New York. I'm from up north. Going to drastically vary from, let's say, Utah.
The Midwest.
Utah or
Or the South.
Montana.
South, too.
South too.
The
I mean,
South.
just
Yeah.
from like a
Texas.
yes ma'am, no
Yeah.
ma'am.
Mississippi,
yes, sir, no,
Mississippi,
sir.
great customer service.
Like that, yes, the yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir. no
It goes
sir
back to
kind of
respect,
thing.
though, with that.
But I don't think it comes off as respectful. That's just a change in culture. That's no difference. I don't think that's any different than you looking at it from a United States perspective to a European perspective. It's just a cultural shift.
Complete sidebar. Sorry to go off on this tangent here, but
It's not the first time.
have you seen the new companies that are actually capitalizing on bad customer service? Like, that's what you're going there to do, is experience someone.
There's
that's
that restaurant.
Yeah, it's
Rick's.
restaurants.
Rick's?
I
Is
don't
it
know
Rick's?
the name of it.
I don't know the name. I've never been.
They like
Yeah, they just shit on you.
treat
the
you
whole
like
fucking
shit.
time. Whole fucking time. It kind of reminds me of this one time.
I don't know if
Ryan
I've-
came with me to the lake, and we went to the brewery. And Ryan goes up to the guy and he goes, "I'll just take whatever is closely like Bud Light." And the guy goes, "Okay, yeah, sure." Goes over there and comes back, gives him a fucking water.
This was in 2018.
And to
or
be
19.
honest, that was
Just gonna make that
awesome.
clarification.
That was awesome. But that was like, it's a different way to do customer service. Like that was a different, I don't know. It was funny. You laugh.
I think that's awesome, but you probably have a customer who probably takes that the complete wrong way.
I know. Because
And those people are
everyone
just-
gets offended.
Soft.
Yeah,
Soft.
but you can read
that was
a room.
hysterical.
I mean, I think
was
really
really
part
fun.
of it, though. I think the customer service part is you having the ability to read the room, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
Is Ryan that kind of guy? And he obviously is. He laughed it off. He wasn't like pissed off or emotional towards it. I think that was good customer service, I think.
It's a tasty water.
I mean, it's hysterical.
That is funny.
If you actually think about it, that's pretty funny.
That was good. But the restaurant does the same thing. You see videos of it. It's hysterical.
Yeah.
They're just judging you on what you're ordering, or they just don't give a shit. And they just walk away in the middle of your order. Like, it's so funny.
Yeah, they come up and they're like, "What the fuck do you want?" It's really, not even kidding. I've seen videos of it.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. And it's actually a cool concept.
Yeah. Yeah.
Different, right? Totally
Yep.
different. But I think, though, when you go there, you know that you're going there.
Well,
for
yeah,
that type of
that's so.
experience.
I think the difference is, too, you're not going there with a problem to be solved.
Yeah.
You're going there for an
Experience.
experience. So I think that's part of it, too.
True. Yeah, I agree. That is part of it. I think that's why people are willing to pay more for certain experiences and like you can definitely sit economy on Spirit, right? Or you can fly first class on American.
Do we really have to talk about flights again?
Spirit only has an economy. That's it, right? There's no other way. I'm just making sure.
I don't think there is because they know that there's
Doubtful.
one
They have
level
an
of customer
economy
experience.
plus.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you get, like a
You
granola
get
bar?
Granola bar? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
one granola bar.
I think they sell you on like the more room, but I'm
Alright.
pretty sure that that's bullshit too.
All right.
I
I know.
doesn't like that conversation.
I know a big thing that I do now when I'm
This is
shopping.
James
or-
on a flight. He's like, "This is great. I love it."
It was so cheap.
I
They're
should
like,
just-
"Sir, put your bag under the seat, all the way under."
I should just get up and leave. You guys don't need me.
You're doing great. What was your topic? What'd you
I
have?
was gonna say, whenever I'm shopping or trying to determine if I want to buy a product, right? A lot of things are customer reviews, but in the customer reviews, what I'm looking for too is the customer service, right? Like, how are they with their warranties? How are they with fixing problems? Like, how are they? And that stuff actually means a lot to me if I'm gonna get a product, especially if it's expensive, because I want to make sure that I'm taken care of. Because I'm not gonna make a big purchase without knowing. All right, I'm good. We can definitely make this purchase. It looks like they got good customer service, which one of them that I love is out of all the smokers, all these pellet smokers that people are buying recently, the reason why I actually picked Pit Boss was because of their customer service.
I don't know the brand and things like that, like you do.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a more expensive brand compared to
It is
others?
a little bit less than Traeger. Traeger was kind of the first on the scene, and Traeger was a little bit more expensive. But they're not cheap by no means. Like this thing's a $700 grill, and it's just you're getting an electrical component grill that's working with fire, right? And so like things can break, which things have broke. It's no product's ever going to be perfect in my eyes. They make it better as years go on. But when things broke and everything, like I saw the reviews and everyone kind of said like how this customer service was great, and I'm firsthand experience they were fantastic.
So like for that specific product, you're willing to pay more for a better customer service.
Exactly.
I think for the most people are willing to pay more.
Yes.
I think that's like the model, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so this is an old saying, but I've heard this before, and I use this a lot in a lot of things that I think about. You can have when you choose a product or service, you can have fast, you can have cheap, or you can have good. Choose two. If you think about it, it's the model for everything, right? If you want a fast and good service, it's not cheap. If you want a fast and cheap service, it's not good.
Yeah.
If you want a good and fast service, again, not cheap. So I think that's really the model that a lot of companies look at, and it's nearly impossible to do all three. Right. I think the only company that's come close to it is Amazon. being able to feel the fast service, good service, and cheap. And it's almost like that is kind of Amazon's model. And for instance, they're I don't even know, probably $1 trillion company
No one's
now.
touching them right now.
Exactly. So that's probably why they've been able to achieve that such a large financial success, is because they've come closest to that.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about Amazon, though, if you think about it, you peel it back, there's no human interaction whatsoever. The closest you get to a person or interaction is the person dropping the product off.
And for the most part, it's not even their product.
Yeah, which is crazy.
But what's funny about that, because there's still a customer service aspect. You've seen the videos and how they make fun of how FedEx compared to UPS, compared to Amazon, compared to UPS, they all have different ways of dropping off the package. I've seen some fucking videos where they have UPS drivers freaking punting
Slinging,
packages.
yeah.
It's hilarious.
I mean, I guess that's the only type of customer service they really have is like delivery. And then when you get a product, you have that like little chat feature. Can you call them? I don't even know.
Oh, I have no idea.
Amazon?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
they have
call
a number, but again, like it's pretty seamless to just go on the app.
There,
and-
Patty does it, but like,
I've done returns very
does it?
easily.
yeah, now you can go to what?
oh yeah, they have the drop off
Kohl's,
locations.
Kohl's.
Oh well,
the,
we have Whole Foods.
Whole Foods is
Foods.
right next to our house, so we do that.
Yeah, that, and they have that
They have the
machine.
lockers too. I
Super
think.
easy. Like 7-Eleven, don't they have that too?
7-Eleven
So-
definitely has it.
I don't know who asked this, but someone asked about automating customer service the most. I think we just answered our question. I think Amazon has really, again, tapped into a whole different level of that. You buy a product, you bring a product back, you don't even talk to anybody really.
Yeah, it might be the strategy, right? They continued the customer experience, but reduced the amount of customer service that was necessary. Because if you think about it, I mean, it's practically like a Walmart Sears catalog, essentially. Just everything's online, but you don't have to interact with people, so you have to hire people that have to have these people skills to be good at customer service, to have great experiences, and then you get a certain clientele based off of, you know, what kind of brand you're cultivating, what culture you have because of a lot of the customer service you're giving. It ends up just being all customer experience at the end of the day. UI, the fulfillment services they do. So
Cool. You know, I think that the one thing I think about in regards to that is, from a business perspective, is if a company wants to create that themselves, right? Like if the company is thinking about, and this is kind of like getting off the target of customer service here, but if a company wants to create a product themselves and then sell it, they can either list it on Amazon or they can go sell it themselves. But if they list it on Amazon, they really don't have to they still have to deal with customer service. But I think they are able to reduce a lot of the customer service and the sales portion because they are listing it on Amazon, because that's where the traffic is. So they can distance, or they could widen margins there. So it's an interesting thing, is like customer service is probably an expensive piece of a business too. So if they're not charging you enough, what lacks? Customer service, probably.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to think about those things. Welcome to Hot Takes, where we talk about debatable topics. Today's debatable topic is, if you think that companies should be able to ask you to tip, no matter what that option may be or what the service may be, do you think that they should have that option?
Hell no.
I'm going to rewind that and play it back 3 times. And now we're back. Okay. That was funny, Ryan. No, it's annoying, but I can see it giving the option if you would like to, rather than a tip jar, because electronically might need to pay you with a credit card rather than having to, put $1 or $2 or whatever in a tip jar. Like, I might not have cash on me. I just don't carry cash very often. But anyways, I can see where it can be useful, but it just puts you in a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. So
You're on a fucking different level today, man.
no, I don't think so though. I don't think that they should be able to ask you that, or they should ask you that, depending on the service.
Yeah, I put you in a weird position. I say it's gotten out of control, and you don't need a tip for certain things. Having the option's okay, but you also feel like you're a terrible person sometimes when they're just looking at you.
Yeah, they're trying to guilt you into it.
Yeah, and then I always wonder, do they see whether or not you actually did the tip.
Oh, 100%.
In the moment, like
yeah, like they turn it right around. Like I'm trying to get away from that screen. Then all of a sudden, do you know that I just tipped you? Because now you're about to make my fucking food.
See, I think that they should put a disclaimer because when I make that option to tip, right? It doesn't matter what the service is. Who gets it? Is it a pooled tip that everybody on staff gets a percentage of it?
Yeah.
That would be nice to know.
Does the person in front of me get the tip? I doubt it, but I think it's a pooled tip probably. How does it work?
So you're saying like when you go to Starbucks to get a coffee and it has the $2, $3, $4 tip option when it's almost more than the coffee itself. You're asking
$4 for a coffee? What kind of fucking cheap ass Starbucks do you get?
touche. Just get a Pike Place medium coffee or grande.
The
That's it,
$7.49, please.
So you're saying though, like,
If you click that $4,
where's it going?
Yeah. Who's
That's a
it
good
going
point.
to?
No one thinks about that. No one talks about that. I don't know.
Generally speaking, from what I understand,
to
it's
everybody.
always pooled though.
Pooled by who's currently on staff at that point in time, or by a
I believe
24-hour
so.
rule.
So that happens a lot with like bartenders, right? They'll be like,
Yes.
"Can I
Yes.
close out your
Yeah.
tab because I want to get my tip?"
Right.
Which is crazy because I don't even know how that all works.
I don't think they're supposed to ask that actually.
To be honest with you, I think they should.
I respect it.
You've
I
been
would
serving
rather-
them. I want to pay the person
Right.
who's serving me. Why
Yeah.
should the next person get the $1,000 bill, especially if I'm about to leave?
I agree. I do agree to that.
You know,
You're right.
like-
they get like the tail end of it. I'm there for 10 more minutes, and then this other person
Yeah.
comes in to close it out. Basically, that sucks. And then they got to split it. That does suck. So I agree.
Mhm.
Yeah, you put in all the labor, you put in all the work. Like, to your point, maybe
Who's getting it?
You maybe-
I want to give it to everybody who's doing shit.
maybe stayed longer because of that experience. Obviously, the people who are serving you,
Yeah.
they should
Some-
get the money.
Sometimes you just want to give your money to that one person,
Yeah.
right? Like
For
they
sure.
just gave you this like I want to give you like this little extra, so maybe you tip them in cash. But then what they do at the end of the day, they might still pool it, right? Because they're honor system and that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. But some people might pocket that shit.
Well, think about when we go on cruises. We find the one person, two people that are providing great service, and we want them to get the money. Because if you keep tipping on the
Correct.
cruise card, it goes to the house.
Yep.
Or
Yeah.
everybody.
Yep.
And then also, be curious, though, when you tip and it's maybe the pool system and it goes to everybody, where do you think, does all of it go to the employees or does it go to the house maybe?
I don't know. I don't think anybody's asking.
So. I've heard sometimes a percentage goes to the house.
Here's
which
a question
would
too.
piss me off. We don't need to get the rich richer.
Here's a question that no
Unless-
one talks about too, right? A lot of the machines that are asking these things to tip are credit card processors. So how much of an influx or how much of an increase in credit card fees are they billing those companies? Because all of this is done based
I
off
think it's
of
flat regardless. I think like Amex is the highest credit card fee billed to the company, but everything else is like a 3% or something.
Yeah, 3% off of asking everybody else for tipping.
And it's the full bill. I don't think you can't do just the total balance and then the tip is separate. Like it has to be the whole transaction
I
gets
agree.
the 3%, which is annoying because again, now not all your money went to those people.
So is it the companies that actually integrated this, or is it the credit card?
Oh, credit cards are the ones that
companies?
set that. That's why you have cash only places because they don't want to pay the credit card fees. It comes out of their
Yeah,
bill.
well, or they just don't want to pay the IRS.
Okay.
Tisk, tisk.
You're right. You're right.
Not the worst decision.
You're right.
Keep the money away from the
They do
But,
take
like,
the most of it.
It's getting a little out of hand when they're asking for the tips. Like,
Yeah.
You could get pretty much, head on like it's usually like your wait staff, your bartenders. Brian, I know you looked it up earlier when we were talking. When you're getting a tattoo, you pay the tattoo artist in a tip.
didn't know
Like that's a universal thing.
I
Like
didn't
there's
know
some
that.
universal tipping and etiquette that comes along with it. But now, you go to fucking McDonald's, Uber Eats, everything has a fucking. If I see Square, I'm pissed already. Like
I think
it's
the
just
biggest one we're
annoying.
harping on is
I just want
carryout.
to see James at this gas. You're just like,
I'm like, what the fuck did you do? Like, you didn't do any
You gotta
service
think
for
about
me.
James's point of view. It's probably carry out. He's going there to save money. I'm gonna make the drive because I don't want to pay the
Well, that's
extra
delivery
fees to
fees
save
and
money.
well, where's
Charges.
one service where you're like, I just don't really understand the point of tipping for this. I can understand it for.
Yeah, but it's also gotten out of control with like what a tip is. Like Uber Eats is nuts with what they recommend you.
Dude, I know.
Like it's like
Paying like $20.
And you know what's crazy?
And they're eating your food.
They make it.
Oh, shit, that
They
was-
make it hard for you to not tip. The not
Yeah.
You have to
tipping
go,
option
yeah.
is like hidden. And let's be honest, you always get started with a 15, 20, and 25. It's some of these places, I feel like because of the level of service they're providing, it should automatically be tapered back. You know, like maybe it should be a 10, 15, 20.
I was at
20's
one the
on
other
high
day.
end.
That it started at 20 and it went to 20, 25,
Yeah,
30,
yeah.
35.
Yeah.
I was like,
Mhm.
35,
I've seen that
holy
too.
shit.
And that's the company setting that standard because they're the ones that configure their Square account. It's not like
well, even all these mobile apps now, they have the like for pickup or like you order ahead. They literally all have the option now. Like every single
Yeah.
mobile app.
everyone wants a
It's like-
tip, and I'll give
Here's
you a
one
tip.
for you.
I bet you will. I bet you will.
Oh.
If you order food and you pick it up, do you give a tip?
No,
No,
and you shouldn't. You're the one. You're doing all the work.
it's
Outside
no
of it being
different if
made.
I ordered it right
they
then
still
and there.
ask for it.
They still ask for
I
it.
know.
They do.
I'm
I
telling you,
know.
I think that's at the root of this one.
Yeah.
That's the one that pisses people off
I
most
think-
because
I think so.
you go to pick up your food and they turn the fucking iPad.
Oh, that movement,
Yeah.
cringe, the ick.
Like, what have you done?
Exactly.
Well, that person, nothing because the chef cooked it all.
Mm-hmm.
So the person there, most likely, nothing. I agree. I think that is the one.
You're not
that is the
you're
one.
not entitled to a tip. Like,
They didn't really do this.
It's almost like sales. You got to work for the transaction,
Mhm.
right? Like you're
Yeah.
trying to bring someone in. You're trying to get that transaction.
True.
You're technically working for it. Now, let's be fair here. Only the U.S. tips.
Yeah. I mean,
Nowhere else are there tipping.
they're
I was
insulted
just in
overseas.
Europe and it was like
Yes.
hard
Insult.
to tip.
I'm getting paid to provide you my service. I'm doing a good job because I'm getting paid to do it. I'm not asking for you to pay me more. You're not my employer. Like that's definitely
Now,
where
is that
they
on the
take
structure of how the structure of the companies and that the pay structure?
I don't know. I want to hear from Johnny.
No, I'm just like thinking of like
Looks so excited.
no, just like oil change. Like now they ask you if you want a tip. A tow truck driver. I remember when I literally had to get my
I would just be so
Wait,
pissed.
wait,
I'm
wait,
broken
wait, wait,
down.
wait. Can I please understand the scenario? You got your car towed from a parking spot kind of thing, or like this is like you broke down and they were towing you to so that you can go get your car fixed.
one of my buddies told me a story about how he had to get his car towed because it broke down, and
Okay.
they literally asked him for a tip, and I'm like, no, it's absurd. This is a kind of a separate topic, but it drives me crazy. I don't know why I just brought this up, but whatever. Airbnb, when they ask you for the cleaning fee, and like you have to clean the house itself, and if you don't
know.
clean it, you get fined or you get a fee of $200
I
on
feel
top
like
of
the
it.
cleaning
I
fee
think
needs
they're
to be
gonna
fucking
clean it on top of
regulated.
it.
But they're cleaning.
They need to be regulated.
I think
swear.
they scrape it off the
Dude,
top.
Sorry for
They're
bringing up a
pocketing
topic
that.
that's kind of.
I
No,
have gotten a
fuck it.
cleaning service for my house, and a one-time cleaning fee is only like $120.
Yeah.
It ain't no $250.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, fuck. I understand there can be some slobs, but I feel like it should be based off of how bad of a mess you left.
It's a way for them to inflate the cost without saying.
I guarantee they're pocketing a
Oh,
portion of it.
100%.
But that's a different subject. Anyways, back to our hot take where we're supposed to be debating on this, and instead we're just shitting all over tipping.
I'm on Reddit right now. I just ordered a shirt online, and no joke, the company had an option to tip me.
Get the fuck out of here! No, absurd.
Oh my god!
I think
Companies
that
are
there's
crazy.
a definite place and time for a tip.
Yeah.
If you're
Right.
in the restaurant business, of course. Okay. Yeah. If you're a waiter or waitress, I think that you should be tipped if you're providing a service, right? Almost like selling someone, right? If you're a salesperson, you're making a commission, which is similar in that perspective. But if you're ordering something and you're the person picking it up and basically you're just buying the food is already priced to be purchased at that rate
Yeah.
with the expenses in it of employment and the person cooking that food. So I don't know in that perspective.
The option should be there, but it shouldn't be thrown in your face. I'm sorry. Like, give me the option to be able to tip. If I want to tip you, let me go ask you, hey, can I leave you a tip? Then you spin the fucking iPad.
You know the ones that are always the interesting, awkward situations when you go to like a bar or like a somewhere where they have like the washroom attendant where they like give you
Oh
the soap.
yeah, that's tough.
Man, man, that's a neat.
Bro.
That one's a tough
I don't
one.
have
That
cash.
is-
Now they hit you. Well, I got a Venmo. I got Cash App. I'm like,
Yeah, I'm usually like I don't.
Do you get so like uncomfortable about
Yes.
it that you make the decision on whether or not am I washing my hands here? Might have been pre-COVID. I would have been doing that, but maybe I'm just gross.
oh my gosh.
See, I mean,
I wash my hands and
Look,
just walk
Ma,
right past
no
it.
hands.
well, well, I mean,
Okay,
that one-
Walker.
Walker.
I
See,
sound
I'm
such
like-
a chump saying it like that though. Oh, God.
see, you just don't wash your hands.
No, it was a joke. No, I have seriously.
I would
be
debate on
completely
maybe
honest.
like not taking the napkin and you just wash my hands. And I'm like, I'll just wipe it on my
Yeah, but then
pants.
but then he takes the soap away,
Yeah.
and he's like, and you're like, motherfucker, yeah, fucking give me soap, please. It's uncomfortable.
Not
dude.
doing it.
You
Sorry.
got another one, Johnny?
No,
Yeah, I respect the hustle, but I think bars are stopping that though.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
not a
they
common
realize that
practice.
customers don't want it.
Yeah.
Or it's like, do they put that in there just so that they alleviate fights though?
That guy,
I don't know.
That-
man.
that person's not stopping
No,
fights.
yeah, the people that the person that's in there, they have no size whatsoever.
Yeah, but
There's no chance
does
of
having
stopping a fight.
just having a person on staff inside of that bathroom not cause them to have a fight?
Bro, really? You're at a bar drinking alcohol. People will get in fights at the bar. Nothing's stopping them. The fact that there's
True.
employees around
True.
there.
Yeah.
Like people get in fights
Yeah,
outside the bar in line to try to get in the bar where security's right in front of their fucking
Bouncers
face.
right there.
Yeah,
True,
dude.
yeah.
No. There's no one's
I don't
stopping.
think with that. Yeah, it's not a common practice to put someone in the bathroom anymore though, like that.
Yeah, I think tipping is very important. There are staff that work their fucking ass off, and
Yes.
they are damn good at their job, and
Yeah.
they deserve it.
They deserve it. for sure.
And if they don't provide you good service, yeah, you got the decision on whether or not you want to tip higher or lower, but stop throwing it in my face.
yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Don't be intimidated by the iPad tip. Stand your ground. Don't tip if they don't deserve it.
If they spit in my burrito, I'm gonna be so upset.
Get your food first. Make
It's all
sure
in
you
front
get
of
the
you.
food first.
Get the food first.
But I can't. It's always pay, then it's assembly line.
So it sounds like we all agree on this.
All
Yeah,
agree.
yeah, we're all shitting on it.
Tip
this time.
where service is provided, and that's about
Ty,
it.
do you
Ty,
agree with
what do
us?
you got? And did you ever have a crazy scenario with a tip story?
Hey, tipping, no tipping. I'll take the secret third option, or restaurant workers should be paid well, so we don't have to worry about
know,
tipping like
True,
you're.
right?
Valid
Just
point.
adjust.
Okay.
But I think that's where the other countries come into play. Where I think that's
The
why they
structure,
don't.
yeah.
It's because it comes down to the structure of the finances behind.
Yeah, because USA, we're greedy, baby.
Yeah, but if you just increase the pay, then you just don't have to tip, right? I mean, and I think that's what the
Hey, we
European.
want that
All
money.
right, so you're saying $25 for a hamburger?
What?
Oh,
Ooh,
you're saying
so we're
increase
on
the
this
pay.
route.
No,
All right,
I'm
okay.
I'm not.
All right. well,
I mean,
that's a separate
No.
topic.
That
though.
is a separate topic for another time.
but here's the thing: well, you're in the other countries.
Your
I
bottom
don't feel
line
like the prices are
decreases.
They're not.
escalated in the other
They're
countries.
Not. They're not. That was a joke. They're not.
Your bottom line decreases if you pay more. That's the problem. So that people are greedy and they don't want.
Yeah, but then you get people who care about your bottom line may decrease, but your employees care.
oh,
more
I know
about
it's
the
a
product
balancing
they're putting
act.
out. Yeah.
I'm just saying it's tough because we're greedy.
Mhm.
You know.
But you've seen on Bar Rescue too. At least I can only reference Bar Rescue. I've never worked in that space. But you'll have people for tips where they're overpouring. They're stealing basically from the company they work for to increase their tip.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
they're getting tips though. They're getting paid.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's
Boy,
just
that's a tough one.
it's interesting with the pay structure. That's how
Yeah.
it could backfire. You're trying to
Good point.
decrease your
Good
bottom
point.
line, and now you're getting bit in the ass.
Good point. Because you know what? I have actually tipped at places
Hell
that
yeah.
when the
Provide you a
assembly
better
line's happening,
service.
For sure.
and I'm
Provide you
watching them fill up my food a little bit extra more. They
Yeah.
look at you and they're like, "I got you."
Hell
man."
yeah.
And then I'm like, "Damn, $3."
$3.
In the grand scheme of things, $3 on a $10 something is 30%. So
Thanks for the math.
It's a burrito.
Good job.
Chipotle.
Way to cover
guy
yourself.
math.
Sweet.
Awesome. Well, tip where tips are needed, and that's about it.
Cool.
Sweet.
The other question I have is when you're thinking about choosing a product and you know their customer service, do you literally just choose it the product because of the customer service or the customer?
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
You're gonna. I mean, if you guys do due diligence, I mean, yes, you're gonna look at customer reviews because I want a quality product. So if it's not made well,
I guess. Well, okay. So let me rephrase that. Not product, service. If you're selecting a service,
I think it has a
Plumber,
lot bigger. It's way bigger.
air
of a
conditioning
factor.
guy, right? Product is one thing. You're buying the product. Service though.
On that note, though, how often, whether more likely people are gonna when they have a bad experience leave a review, but how often are we leaving reviews? Like great experience happens. I could probably do a better job. Like, do you guys actually take the time when you have a great experience to leave a review to let others know? Because I know I'm the first person to look for the reviews, but
I've maybe done 3 reviews in my
Yeah.
entire life.
I try to more just because I know how much it impacts the business.
Yeah.
And I want to be like, almost, I feel like I'm helping them or paying it
Right.
forward. So I do in that regard.
When you have an amazing like customer experience, it goes a long way. I feel like I've done a little bit more better of a job probably over the last couple of years, probably post pandemic, just because there's some people out there that are just going through it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm also the same with like negative reviews. I just don't. It's honestly more just taking the time to write something negative. Like that just sucks.
Yeah.
But again, like there's some people out there where you do have a negative experience.
If it's consistent, then that's when you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel bad. Like when I'm like
Dude.
gonna write a negative review, I don't really like. If I write a negative review, that shit has to suck, like straight up suck, because it's got to be really bad.
you're putting
for me.
in time now
'Cause
to
I'm
go
not-
out of your way to do so. You know?
That, but I'm just like, I just feel that what happens if they had a bad day, or what happens if like I just caught it on like a bad time, and that's not really them. That's not really the product or service that they truly offer. I just had a bad experience. And I'm a one-off.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin that and then leave that like stamp on their Google business profile because that is gonna suck for them. So I just don't usually write that.
And that happens a lot with restaurants where it's like one time, and then even in the writing, you see like, okay, it took 15 minutes to get sat, but you loved the food. Everything else was great, but you still gave them 1 star. Like, what the hell does that mean? Like, why?
15 minutes? Damn. That's nice. When I hear 15 minutes on a wait, I'm like, hell yeah. If I hear an hour, that's when I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, 15 minutes on the way.
Hey,
But-
it took too long to get seated. Meanwhile, you know they're understaffed. Like, of course, it's going to take a little bit longer if you know the company or the restaurant's
Well,
understaffed.
that comes into play with, you said it earlier, being empathetic from the customer service side, but that's also the same thing. I think Ryan, you brought the point up of the customer itself. Like, you can't be an asshole.
Yeah, but then also on that topic, though, when you take a step further to the actual, let's just say your server or your waiter or waitress, when people like rip or go into like just getting mad at them about something that really happened in the
Killing
kitchen.
the messenger, basically.
Yeah, like
yeah, no,
it's
it's the
not,
worst.
they're not cooking the food. Like,
It's the worst.
so. People.
Just be smart. If you're gonna go off on a restaurant, do it after you've eaten your food.
Yeah, don't make a scene. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But no,
Oh,
that's probably one of my biggest pet peeves is when someone treats like wait staff or any kitchen staff or anything with a restaurant staff like just with total rudeness and unkindness. I don't like that. They're humans too. They could, like you mentioned earlier in the episode, they could be going through something that day.
For sure.
You don't know that.
You don't. Did any of you guys work in a restaurant?
No.
One day.
One. Kenny said, "Go fuck yourself" to somebody, probably.
Really?
I wasn't on the service side. I wasn't like a waiter or anything.
Busboy?
Oh, no, I wasn't even that. All right,
Hostess?
I'll tell you about this experience.
Does frozen yogurt count?
Yes.
frozen yogurt.
Yes.
Yes.
Then I was in there.
That's pretty good.
So there's like where we grew up, there's not much. Like we're in the middle of the farm, so like a restaurant is like owned by a family that I go to school with, like their kids probably. But these guys were next to Six Flags Great Adventure, so they were out kind of on like the main strip of like where more of the traffic would come. So my dad knows this guy who owns this place, and they just have a restaurant that kind of it's like an American food place. They're like a dishwasher dude got arrested or some shit, so he had an opening. And I was like, at this point, I was probably 17, so I was able to drive, so I was like 17. So I'm working there. I start off first day. I go out. I'm cleaning dishes, and they show me how like these like universal like commercial dishwashers. They're crazy. They're like these boxes that you like literally put this like the square crate in, and then it just washes, and you just like close it, wash for like 2 minutes, and then that's it, whole thing. So I'm like just changing all these things. So I do that. Then I go and mop the floors. Then I go and he's got like a sign outside that's like 20 feet high. I change like the letters on this sign. Then I have to clean the fucking grease trap. Do you guys know how to clean a grease trap? No, that shit sucks. And yeah, so then it's like in the floor. It's where all the grease from all the food goes. And you got to take these things out.
It's an eventful first day.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I work one day.
only day.
So I clean the grease trap, and you got to take the grease out of like the floor, and then like go put it in like a toxic, like almost like a waste bin out back, and then someone picks that shit up, I guess. So I do that. Then I'm like cleaning other shit in the back, and then these people that are working in the back are not like the most ethical people, and they're just like, you know, not they don't have a 4-year college education, and they're not like the most moral driven people. So they're asking me the craziest shit on my first day. I'm like 17 years old. So all this shit happens. I worked for a 12-hour shift. I probably made like $80, and then I got hired by ShopRite, and I said, fuck that.
I got a question for you. Do you think having one day in that environment and the experience shaped the way you treat people further and more as you got older? Just because you know once you went through and how hard, like that's a lot of work.
Yeah, so I mean, my dad specifically put me in that position. Like I worked at ShopRite for a while. I worked in the frozen food section, and I worked as a cashier. I ran a cash register. That is like the ultimate of figuring out if you can deal with people on a customer service end. Because when people are in a rush, or people are, you know, they have like 2 carts full of like, I mean, you guys don't have ShopRite, so you have Publix, but it's the same exact thing. Yeah. Just
It's a grocery store.
grocery store, yeah. It might be Kroger's, or it might be Publix or whatever. But you deal with people, and then they give you like an expired coupon. Like, you know, that's a tough thing. Like, yo, this coupon doesn't work. I'm like not trying to be a dickhead, but at the same time, like, I can't scan this shit either. So there's like that, and like people are mean, you know. And then you get someone who has like 3 items, who's like 5 people back. They are not happy when they get to you after like 20 minutes. And you just deal with the crazy stuff. So to answer your question, like, yeah, it definitely did, because of 2 sides. One, it's like you find your patience level with people, and that I'm not the most patient with people. Not many people from up north are. But then also you see like how hard it is to work for that value of like $15 an hour. At the time it was probably even less. It was like 10 at the time. But
Dang. Oh, you grew up. No, it's
Yeah.
that's
yeah,
And it was years ago.
yeah, it was years
yeah,
ago.
I mean, it was
Wow.
like 20,
Cost of living was.
who knows,
But if you're on
2010.
the other side
No,
of that register, if you're the client, and this is like, you don't value it, you don't view it the same, you know. So you're
not if
coming
you've
in
never been in that position.
exactly. So you're coming in, you don't. They're just a cashier. Like that's the same. That's the thought process when you don't know who they dealt with that day, what they've been through. You know, it's just it goes back to perspective.
Listen, when I was working at Winn-Dixie, I tried to be the best bagger of all time. That was my role. I loved it, and pushing the carts, baby. But it does treat you and give you a different perspective for sure. And I'm thankful for. I mean, we've all had these roles kind of in a way. Like obviously, you grew up working at the shop.
Yeah.
Dealt with
But
people.
all changes I didn't. Well, actually, no. Okay, I was a cashier for a long
Yeah.
big time of it.
Yeah,
You probably dealt with
Never
people
mind.
complaining
I forgot
about,
about that.
oh, this price, da
Yeah.
da da.
Yeah.
And it was always the worst seeing customers like when maybe they didn't have their money, or the card got declined.
Dude,
Oh man.
It was
I
always
dealt
the
with
worst.
that around it was
Yo.
around 2008 when I was doing it.
So like
Oh, man.
food stamps.
I remember one time there was like a woman that had a kid, and she had a whole cart full of everything, and you can tell, like I could just tell, and you know what was going on with the economy at that time.
Yeah.
I felt for this lady. I almost was like, I will give you all my $300 at the time. I was like, I wanted to pay for her groceries. I felt so bad because you can tell she tried every credit card. she had. Everything got denied. And then, like, I just want to be like, run out of the place. Just go. I'm not going to stop you. Like, I just wanted to tell her that. But obviously I couldn't. Yeah, that was just the worst. I felt so bad. And you can tell she was stressing and she was uncomfortable. And that was not a normal position for her. And the 2008 financial markets were definitely affecting her.
Yeah. It's a very vulnerable position to be in. It's sad.
Speaking of feeling like shit, I was on the other side of things when I was working for the cash register at our shop. When you make a mistake, is that the worst feeling ever? And I mean, I've made mistakes where I charged the person the wrong stuff because been back in. I know technology has been up and coming, but like we still had to key in what the price was that they had to pay, and like maybe you forgot to hit that dot, and all of a sudden now it's like $1,000 or whatever, and you know you got to cancel the transaction. The customer's pissed at you. That sucks, man. Nothing feels worse than when you're doing a very customer service, high customer service role, and you make the mistake. And it's not like them being problematic. It's you that ended up being the problem. You didn't, it's an honest mistake, but still, that shit sucks, man. You feel embarrassed. You get, nervous and like, how the hell do I fix this? You kind of freeze up. Especially if you're young too. That shit's not fun.
Yeah.
But to that point, like, that's exactly the thing. Like, think about how someone in a customer service role feels every single time.
Yeah.
It's like not an easy situation to be in.
No.
And when you have a customer losing their mind, it's like, how do they maintain composure, right?
I know.
And like literally your job is to deal with frustrated people, like in some of these environments, in some of these roles. And let's call it as it is. A lot of them aren't getting paid the most either.
I think a psychology major or something would do really well in a customer service oriented space because they can understand the person to a different level, and they can understand emotions, and they can understand.
You think in that short of a transaction though that they can do well, as you're saying, compared to, when you're a psychology major, therapist, whatever, you're getting hours and hours of time with somebody, so that's how you really do understand people. But in a single transaction, how are you going to know exactly what emotional state they're in at that moment, right? You take social cues for sure.
For sure.
I just don't know.
I think that you understand people.
Yeah, I just don't know how much of a separation you'd get from being a psychology major. But anyways, I don't want to shit on your fucking point.
Well,
so
people skills are important. All right.
Yeah.
We'll land on that.
Well,
so I'll get you back.
I want to make one other point though, because Ryan talked about the entitlement stuff, and we were focused more on the customer side. Have you guys been seeing the entitlement that's been happening on the employee side, where like they just don't give a shit about you at all? Like they'll be just talking
as a customer.
Yeah, like they just don't care. Like they're talking to their coworkers, and like you're waiting on them. Like, hello.
I had that last night.
Can you please help me? Like I'm sitting here waiting. You can be patient, but then like it just gets drawn out and more, and they clearly see you there, but you can see the interaction they're having with their coworker, and it's a joking, like it's nothing productive towards work. That frustrates the living hell out of me.
I think when you're in that customer service space, right? So I think you have to, from a restaurant level. I was at a restaurant last night and I dealt with that. I'm the person that if I enjoy my experience, I'm going to stay there longer. If I stay there longer, I'm going to order more things. If I order more things, my bill is going to be larger. If my bill is larger, your tip is going to be larger just by pure percentage, right?
Right.
So how I look at it is I left early because it was just a poor experience. So I literally got a box, and then we left and we paid, and that was it. But I would have stayed there for probably another hour, 2 hours. I would have ordered more. I would have, just talked more. So it's kind of like, I'm not like resentful, or I don't feel any type of way, but I am going to leave, and I won't, just continue with that experience, which really at the end of the day, it's only going to affect your pocket. And that's really how I look at it. So I don't take it personally on my side, but you know that if you're serving at a restaurant and you have me as a customer, I'm the one that'll stay there.
I just think the overall mindset today's world is people are more complacent and they're more entitled, in that combination. You're just seeing it spill over into multiple industries, and it can be infuriating from time to time, because then you're that like your job, you are paid to provide service. and you're deliberately, in your situation, going out of your way not to do so. Now, I just think, like, I get it, be patient, and I just think it's happening more and more, and the two common factors are entitlement and complacency. But we're in an environment right now that's kind of breeding those behaviors.
But how can you feel entitled on that end? What are you entitled to?
Well,
No repercussions.
I think where's that
Can't get
stemming
fired?
from? Like, where is it stemming from? Like, for someone to be entitled and feel that way and be complacent. Like, that's the bigger picture. But, like, yeah, if you're going to get fired.
Could be in their character and stuff. Like, they're just...
There's a bigger... Yes, the root...
Which we could probably go down a rabbit hole
Bigger
and
rooted
talk
issue
about,
that-
for sure.
I think you just see it more and more now,
No,
in my opinion.
I agree, but it's, you know what, it's also hard? It's hard to find people that are willing to work.
Yeah.
I can talk a lot about this, and I take that experience as that's a personal learning experience for me. But I think that if you are entitled, and you truly feel like you can't be fired, I think you should check yourself. I think you should fucking check yourself.
Or else Kenny's checking you right into the boards, baby.
Because
James with the
what,
sports
especially when
analogy.
it's like you have to look at your position. Like,
Goal. I'm sorry.
there's what 8 billion people in the world now. You're gonna tell me that
Something
you
like
can't
that.
be replaced? Good luck. Good luck.
Another way to look at customer service, though, is also within your own job. So I know that's literally what we're talking about, but let me rephrase that. So in my role, right, my customers are actually my coworkers. So I have to provide them with good customer service, right? That's what I meant by in your job. So in your interactions with coworkers, and as well as other companies, whether they're vendors or people that you're providing sales service for, that business to business relationship, it's almost like networking as well. Because if you're a shitty person to get along with, no one's going to want to do anything with you. They're not going to want to collaborate. They're not going to want to run a project with you. They're never going to keep you in mind ever. You're probably going to never get sought out for promotions. I mean, it's just an endless cycle of bad news for you if you're just not worth anyone's time because you're a shithead.
So to go off both of this, I'm searching. Nick Saban, the Alabama football coach, just kind of did a lecture.
That. I loved it.
It was the importance of nothing.
Yeah.
And some of his call-outs were, nothing is acceptable but your best. Everything is determined by you trying to be your best. There should be nothing else but that for everybody. Like, bring your best, whatever that is, each and every day. You wake up every day, you are entitled to nothing is handed to you. Nothing should be handed to you. It's all a mentality. But that just recently came out, that interview, and he basically prepared the meeting. It's like, y'all want a lecture? Here we go. The importance of nothing, and you don't know where it's going, and then he just dropped the hammer.
Yeah, I loved it.
It was good.
Yeah.
Fired me up. Fired us all up.
Yeah.
It's the truth. But again, goes back to the mindset too. Takes a certain character to feel that way and be that way.
But if you are that character, I think
You're doing well in life.
you are.
Yeah, if
Or
you're going
you're
through some
striving to be
shit and
great.
you're able to twist that stuff around into positivity and still be a lovely person to be around, kudos to fucking you, man. You're on a good path.
Yeah. Heck of a journey.
Awesome. Well, I think that we all agree that customer experience is a really important thing, but even more so, I think what leads to strong customer experience is strong and dependable customer service. I think it starts from that. I think it's the root of a good experience is good customer service. I think that we all agree that it's worth so much value that people pay more for it. So there's financial aspects of customer service that yield reward. And I think that with customer service, there's a lot of aspects of it, and it's used in a lot of different places. It can be automated, but I think good customer service still needs a human touch, and it leads to most of the successful companies today. But there are caveats to it. So I think we all have some input on that, but customer service is super important.
Treat people the way you want to be treated. That's
Awesome.
simple.
There you go.
Well, until then,
Better
better
continues.
I didn't know.